area will not work because it doesn't stop it. It won't deter anybody. I mean, the moment Britain wanted to ship people to Rwanda, it didn't stop. It didn't deter people from coming. They will still come. If the fight is really against the smugglers, the criminals, then take your fight to the criminals. Do not take your fight against the refugees, the victims. These are victims, and we need to call it out. They are victims. You know? And Italy, I remember, I think this was back in 2018, Italy actually paid the militia groups in Libya to stop migrants from crossing the Mediterranean. And within the space of a month, the amount of people crossing into Italy had declined massively. And of course, you know, these militia or militant groups are heavy-handed and actually selling people into slavery. And so, you know, it's so complex. There's no one solution to fix this particular problem. All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll look at what's happening in Kenya, and we'll bring you other stories as well. In Tunisia, as people have taken to the street, blaming the government, wanting to destroy the constitution, basically, and take away the civil liberties away from them and to implement military rule. That's what people of Tunisia are claiming. So we're taking a quick break. When we'll come back, we'll continue with our discussions. Don't go nowhere. Stay tuned. This is GN Morning Breakfast Show.
World title.
Whoa! Did you feel that? That'll be Duracell Optimum, our most powerful alkaline battery ever. It gives gadgets like you extra power to finish jobs like this in no time. Duracell Optimum, our next generation of power.
Hi, I'm Julia.
And I'm Harry.
And we're the creators of Click Money.
Japan, their national champion.
Meiko Fukubi, national champion. Asian junior champion a few years ago. Very close to her PB in the heats.
Switzerland, 2 times their national
Itaji
champion.
Kambunji, younger sister to Munjinga, European junior champion. She was next to Danielle Williams in the heat and is next to her here in the semis. The gold medalist in Beijing got a bronze in Doha. She's the 8th fastest in history, but needs a better start than she got in the heats. Michelle Jenica always bounces around and where she ran a national record in the final. She was 3rd. Kenny Harrison got a good start. It's pretty even at the moment. Now the American coming away, and so too Toby Amerson in the middle. And Daniel Whitensey, 12-12. That is astonishing. I can hardly believe what I've just seen. That is a massive, massive world record. She's looking at the clock to see if it was a mistake. But it wasn't. It's been confirmed. Kenny Harrison has run one of the fastest times in history, and she was over a 1/10 of a second behind. A massive, massive world record in the semi-final. Toby Amerson has just electrified the stadium. Half the people are still making their way into their seats. Some of them thought the clock had stopped early. It was an incredible run, but we didn't think it was that good. How on earth does she now focus on winning the gold medal after...
Yes, and then she went on to win the gold medal. And you could see that she was crying on the podium. One particular sports channel had it as tears of joy for new world record holder Toby Amerson, who is Nigerian, as she collects Nigeria's first ever world championship gold. What a moment! What a moment indeed! So congratulations to her. Such an achievement. Fantastic race. Well done to her. Well done. Well done. So if you just tune in, this is GN Morning Breakfast Show with myself, Jones Awuah. Now, before we went on the break, this is what we're discussing actually, and I would like to hear your take. I've seen a few messages coming in, and please bear with me. I will read your messages out, okay? I will read your messages out. The question we're asking is, Rushi Sunak in position to become the Prime Minister. How significant is this for ethnic minorities? Okay, let me hear your take on this particular question. And also some of the stories that we've discussed earlier. If you want to contribute, you're welcome. And I do welcome you to come on, all right? I'm not even asking if you want to. I'm asking to contribute, get involved. Because I keep saying this, right? And a lot of the time you hear people saying they don't want to get involved with, current affairs. It doesn't affect them, but it does affect you. It affects you here. If you think it doesn't affect you back home, trust me, it does affect you back home. Because, let's say Ghana, for instance, this e-levy, it affects you because you send money back home, and you want to get something, and if the payments is through Momo, and obviously people are getting charged left, right, center. On the subject of e-commerce as well, it does affect people. It has an impact on you. So you do have a voice. And if you're here in the diaspora, you do have a voice. Believe that you do have a voice. Yes, many have argued, and I think it was even the other day that I was talking to a friend of mine, and the whole argument about the Conservative Party choosing the candidates to become the next Prime Minister, and him argue the fact that there's no point. They claim that you have a voice, but you don't have a voice. If you have a voice, and I know this person is listening right now, if you have a voice, then how come people are selected and you've got to pick one? It's not your choice. And I said to him that it's not necessarily based on whether you get to choose the person that you think qualifies to lead the country. It's not the fact that, the Conservative Party have given you 2 people. It doesn't matter. The fact that you don't get to pick those 2 people, all right, these 2 persons for you to vote for, okay, doesn't mean that you don't have a voice. You do have a voice, simply because the two candidates selected by the Conservative parties, the most important thing is they share the conservative ideology. That's the most important thing. That's why they're part of the party. And then you, the individual, the member of a Conservative party, have been given the right to select who you think is best to become the prime minister. So you do have a voice. If you don't vote for them, they don't become the leaders. All right. So you do have a voice. So I encourage people to always get involved and get active, and let's have a conversation. Let's talk. This is how we're able to move forward as a people. Of course, we're here to bring you up to date as to what's happening in the rest of the world. Now then, let's turn our attentions to Kenya. And I'm very interested, in the issue of Kenya because, this election means a lot for Kenyans. And the effect of what we witnessed of the 2007 and the post-election violence which ensued, right, really brought to home how crazy it is to play not just party politics, but ethnic politics, I will call it, and how everything is just based on ethnic lines. And I mean, this is not only peculiar to Kenya. We've seen it everywhere. I mean, even here we've seen it. We've seen it. It might not necessarily be along ethnic lines, but here I think it's more of ideology. We've seen people get murdered. We've seen, politicians get stabbed. And we've seen how, but in 2007, really exposed how difficult and how violent it could turn out. In Kenya, ethnic identity has been used to grant privileges. Sometimes it's the only qualification considered for a job. And it's not just Kenya. It's, I see it in Nigeria. I see it in Ghana. I see it in Tanzania. I see it everywhere that, we're all different tribes or clans or whatever, or even religion, you name it. The fact that you belong to one particular party automatically puts you in a more favorable position than your counterparts. And when that is weaponized, we've seen what that could cause. And as I did mention, it has been weaponized to humiliate and frustrate others. A situation that breeds a siege mentality in those bearing the brunt, and a sense of entitlement among those benefiting from it. Politics, therefore, becomes a zero-sum game, absolutely, at the expense of addressing pressing issues that could better people's lives. Kenya saw horrific ethnic-based violence after the dispute 2007 election, when more than 1,500 people were killed, hundreds more were injured, and 600,000 were forced to flee their homes. The violence was probably Kenya's lowest moment since independence. Yeah. So now Kenyans will go to the polls on the 9th of August, and Julius will be joining us very, very soon to talk about this and to actually know how ethnicity, how much of where you're from, your ethnic background will play, the role it will play in this year's election. So Julius will be joining us very, very soon. And I mean, again, this goes back to, the issue of ethnicity. And again, I did something on this particular, this area, and it was no different to that of Rwanda. And when I say it was no different, I mean not on the scale of the atrocities that happened, but at the end of the day, every life loss is not a good thing. And when, in my research on this particular area to do with conflict, I realized that the formula was the same as Rwanda and also in Kenya. And this was something that was socially engineered, was socially constructed by the colonial masters, where one particular tribe were perceived to be superior to the other tribes. And the same thing happened with Rwanda, the Hutus and the Tutsis. And which was interesting because, maybe I might be digressing, but just bear with me here. Which was interesting because the Tutsis and the Hutus were one people. And when I say one people, it's still nothing definitive has come out to say, how they all came to be. Because they speak the same language, they've intermarried, and they share the same cultures and traditions. However, where they differ is, I think the Hutus are farmers, and the Tutsis rear cattle. And of course, when that is brought into the social construct, if you look at within the social settings, the Tutsis would say, for lack of words of expression, are more, we say maybe more richer than the Hutus, in a more favorable position than the Hutus, because cattle cost more, when it comes to, in terms of classism, if you want to put it at that. And also, the colonial masters actually put Tutsis in higher positions. And therefore, the Hutus felt as though, their lack of advancement in life within society is as a result of the Tutsis. And the colonial masters did not help the situation by encouraging Tutsis to, demonize the Hutus. And it was the Hutus extremists that took things into their own hands. Now, some might say that this was around colonial times, but it created a division that was just bubbling. It was bubbling. And in the end, 1994, we saw the real cause of it. And you can even listen to President Kagame. He said it, that it was the West that caused the Rwandan genocide by placing one particular group over the other. And in the case as Kenya, it was similar. Dividing the land, one particular tribe owning majority of the land. And this creates division. And of course, when that division is created, you then have democracy. And then for some reason or the other, you expect these tribes to be able to come together and vote. Of course. Elections are never perfect, never 100% anyway. And as such, it's easier for people to, feel as though that they've been cheated on or dispute or just take out their anger and frustrations on the other tribes. So all of this was socially engineered. So it's important, and I'm really looking forward to my conversation with Julius. Julius will be joining us very, very soon. Whilst we'll wait, let's wait. Let's see if Julius is on here. Okay. Whilst we're waiting, let me read a few messages. All right, messages that have come in. Okay, I think we have Julius online now. Julius, thank you very much for taking time out to join us. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. So literally a few weeks away, Kenyans will be going to the polls to vote to elect a new president. And of course, we've had this discussion where, the issue of voting along ethnic lines comes in. But us, Kenyans are getting closer to voting. How serious is this?
Jonas, I just want to say there are so many narratives that are going to go out there when it comes to elections in Kenya. But one thing that I know for sure, ethnicity right now in this general election, 100% non-issue. Let me tell you something that a lot of people who just look at Kenya through glasses without going deeper. The peaceful coexistence of Kenya is not because of politicians. Those ones are uttering divisive words almost every day and night. If it was left to the politicians, right, some of the country will be burning. Some are very angry, even now, right now, some of them are very upset. Given the chance, they want to slap somebody, they want to do anything, and yeah, but the peaceful coexistence of Kenya as a nation is credit to Kenyans. It is Kenyans who look around, they say, I may hate this tribe, but I work for my bosses from the other tribe I hate. If you own a shop, they are like, my customers are from all tribes. When you go to schools, you go with someone from every other tribe. And you see, that's the power of Kenya in terms of not being divided along the ethnic lines. And therefore, I've seen a lot of effort by the Western media, especially, who do not understand Kenya, trying to portray narratives that are extremely divisive. But if you were to go deep down to the history, you will be so surprised. Look, even when if we go to the top hierarchy of the things, whereby two tribes that were supposed to be hating each other, the Luos and Kikuyus. See, the current prime minister vying as one of the presidential candidates. His son was married to a Kikuyu, the tribe they should have been hating each other. So intermarriages, living together, doing business together, that is the glue that holds Kenyans together, and that cannot be torn apart. I'll give you a last general election, Jonas, after being nullified by the Supreme Court. If it was left by politicians, Kenya would have burned. But it was these guys who went to vote. They would tell their leaders, no, we are not going down that road. Go back to the ballot box, we'll vote for you. Kenyans refusing to go to fight for anyone, because at the end of the day, now they know. You see politicians abusing each other, but tomorrow you see them sharing a cup of tea. Is a game. And Kenyans, a lot of Kenyans right now know that. And they've seen it happen day and night. Typical example, if you saw last general election, how lethal it was, how the former prime minister was going at it with the current president. Even they acknowledge themselves, how they'll call each other names. But today, what do they call each other? My brother. And they are so glued together that like nothing ever happened after the handshake. So when we see Western media trying to portray a particular narrative, I just want to tell you one time, CNN went to Kenya last general election. And these young, clever youths decided, we have seen how you portray our country during elections. And they managed banning of tires in the middle of the road. Say CNN covering war is about to begin. After all that, only these guys to come around and say, yeah, that's what you like. We gave you what you're always looking for. So when you see BBC talking about ethnicity as a factor in this general election, it makes me laugh. Because number one, right now, dynamics that hold Kenya's politics are so different. Jonas, if you were to peg election on the party, and that party you peg it on a group of tribes, I just want to tell you the biggest groups that were competing last general election, Jubilee Party, a conglomeration of different groups of tribes, and another one, NASA. Again, those ones, each party was torn down the middle, and no one sees eye to eye with each other. So does it then mean tribes are fallen down? Who is going to collect them to make sense when elections come? It's an argument right now to say Kenya is going to vote along ethnic lines. Look at current group, Azimio One Kenya, that has got about 26 political parties, all of them coming from different tribes. Is a region. It's just like saying, okay, we are in England, we have Welsh, we have Irish, we have Scottish. It's nothing more than that. And it's normally normal in politics. I wouldn't read anything beyond that, especially when we have, what's going on in Kenya. The opposing camp, Kenya Kwanza, led by Deputy President William Ruto, also has brought together different groups of political parties, again, trying to cut across the nation, because remember this, in Kenya now, under the new dispensation, under the Constitution 2010, which Kenyans wrote, a brand new constitution, for you to be a president, you have to score almost at least more than 25% in each county. Kenya has 47 counties scattered across the country. So that idea of tribes, it doesn't make any particular sense, because even if your tribe was 5 million people and they all voted for you, you still cannot be the president of the country. You have to be voted for in all these other different constituencies. You have to, a particular percentage you have to score.
Okay.
So you see, we have to look for the facts the way they are. That narrative of ethnicity in Kenyan politics, I think, is very much outdated.
Yep. Okay, so with that being said, Julius, what are the Tony issues? What are Kenyans looking for in this coming elections? That because I know that the issue of corruption is one, and of course, this is not only peculiar to Kenya; it's everywhere. And I think this has been one of the most difficult things to fight against, across the continent, I should say, And I think Uhuru Kenyatta, the president, the outgoing president, soon has, in the past, has said that, it is difficult. And we've seen the likes of Raila Odinga, he has come out and said that he will deal with it. But aside from just corruption, what are the main issues that, Kenyans are expecting to hear, or something that the politicians need to be able to convey to Kenyans to win their votes?
The good thing with the new constitution, John, is it introduced devolution. Now, when we talk about devolution, again, you have 47 counties, and these counties are entitled a percentage of money from the national government. So if you say, for example, you need to give this, increase this maybe from 25 to 30%. So when you give a county 30% of their share of the national kitty, and it's distributed in an equitable manner, that has seen Kenya transform, because development has been fast-tracked. Counties that would have be waiting for a national government to build a road, we see them within the devolution context. All this development happening pretty fast. So one of the things that Kenyans are focused on is to see the budget, the percentage that the national government should share to each county increased from what it is to a lot more money. Another thing they are looking for, which is very important, is peaceful election, peaceful transfer of power and continuity, because without that, nothing ever makes any particular sense. Also, they want to see credible election, whereby we wouldn't see Supreme Court having to nullify any election because of malpractices like they happened last time. That would be very important for continuity. Now, when you look into youth and employment, that's another key issue, which is very important and very dear to them. Kenyans, I think, Jonas, I took time. When I was in Kenya last time, I was like, I just I distanced myself from being a Kenyan to see what people were doing. And Kenya is a working nation. Jonas, you'd be so shocked to see images of a pregnant woman in the middle of the road selling bananas, right? And everywhere you go, you see someone is trying to do something.
Yeah.
They don't want stuff for free. It's a working nation. So all they want is empowerment. They want leadership that will create opportunities or even empower them to start businesses, because that's the culture of Kenyans. They don't want things for free. When you are promising them, I will give you for free, they are not for that. They love working for their stuff. And that is a beautiful thing when you see that's the ethos of Kenyans across the country. And another thing, of course, which is not talked about quite a lot, of course, education is a key thing. We have seen Raila Odinga and his party promising Kenyans free primary education up to university level. That would be great, because you see a lot of bright students are lost somewhere because of their lack of affordability of fee. And if there was to be a system that's going to absorb all these bright students, that they'll never drop out of school because of lack of fees. That is a very important issue, because education is another thing that's very important for any particular nation. And when I also see the politics and what's going on right now, also Kenyans want a government that will, when it comes into power, it will remember the universities are churning out graduates in different disciplines. And these graduates are supposed to be coming out to build the nation and work in their country. So when you give some contracts to Chinese, you tell them, we can allow you to bring 10% of your personnel, but 90% you have to give Kenyans the chance to build their roads. Yeah,
I'm with you on that, Julius. I'm always with you on this whole quota system, because I think that is the best approach to be able to, industrialize as a country, as a nation, to develop as a nation. But Julius, before I let you go, I don't know whether you've been listening, but I've been posing this question, and seeing as you're here with us, it'll be good to hear your take on this. Now, as you're aware, the Conservative Party has two contenders, Rushi Sunak and Liz Truss, vying to become the next Prime Minister. I'm asking this question. Rushi Sunak in position to become the Prime Minister. How significant is this for ethnic minorities, do you think, Julius?
Yes, the right question. You see, if you didn't know, of course, Rushi Sunak, his father is Kenyan and the mother is Tanzanian. So, number one, we're going to have another Obama moment in the UK if he becomes the Prime Minister.
Descendants of Kenya.
But I have heard a lot of my friends, Asian Indians, talk about what they think about it. And the most line that I took from them, they were like, the tables have turned, and after colonialism, one day we're going to have a prime minister in the UK from ethnic minority. All these things are being thrown out there. But then again, Jonas, what I thought was the controversy surrounding the wife and being a non-dom taxpayer. And when you look into all this money, you see always ethnic minority will be seen as the poor of the poorest. When you talk about the social order, maybe we are the lower part of the pecking order of things. But then you realize, goodness gracious me, this character was a big millionaire. He doesn't have 1 million, it's many millions. And now that UK wants part of that, to be here, to be... It's kind of tricky though. From my take, right? If it is the Rich's wife's father who started the IT company in India, excuse me, it's no one in UK, there's no UK involvement there. If she gets shares on that company, I think, seriously, just because you are here now, they want that money as well? How long can the hand of the taxman be? Because I thought if it was a company in the UK, operational in the UK, and she didn't pay tax, then I think, no, then I'm worried. But this is something that she has no control over. She was not there when the father started the IT company. Now that when the father made millions before he gave her the shares, I'm like, no, there was no UK involvement there. So why can't they just accept the fact that in some cases, if earnings earned from a foreign land like that, and its operation is not in the UK, then you're like, why should it matter that you pay tax? But yeah, tax evasion, I think, is something I totally don't like. I don't advocate for. But tax evasion is when you have generated of your income in the UK and you're not paying tax. That's different.
All right, Julius, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Cheers, have a nice one.
You too. So that was Julius Baluto. Julius is a good friend, and also he's a journalist and a broadcaster. You can catch his show Global Politics on Colorful Radio. Let's take our next caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Yes, sir. I'm doing fine, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, thank you, sir. What would you like to say this morning, Mr. Yosin?
Yeah, I'd like to speak on all of your points. Very interestingly, you are asking for the Conservative Party leadership contest.
Yes.
And I believe the other lady is going to win it easily, hands down, without a fight.
Liz Truss.
She's going to win without a fight. We are here in this country. Anybody who's been in this country for 10, 15, 20, or 30 years will understand what I'm saying. There's no way we're going to have an Indian Prime Minister in UK or Pakistani Prime Minister in UK. It's just a joke. Unless people are not serious. When we go out into the country, whether for Conservative or the whole nation, you're not going to get anything unless people don't know anything at all. It's a joke. It's just a formality. Do you understand? So, we expect democracy in inverted commas. It's just a simple formality. But I tell you what, if a little learning is very dangerous, those who don't learn will never know anything. Where were we? Where were we in 1984? One Paul Boateng, it's a mixed race person, the mother for UK and the father is a Ghanaian. What happened to him? He went into a Labour stronghold and lost. The general election, he lost. And he was a good guy, perfect politician. So they put him to Housden, where there are black people. That's why he could come to Parliament. But there was no way. Even Labour people turned against him. Paul Boateng. People must not fail to learn. Unless those few people who just came here 8 to 10 years ago, forgive them. But those who have been here for as long as possible, my goodness me, they must be better. Number two, go to 1991. Neil Kinnock, Labour leader, general election. This man was leading before I went to bed. Or before me and my family went to bed. Labour was winning and winning and winning. The next morning, Labour had lost. Why? Because the leader is from Wales, not an Englishman. You just think and realize and know these truths and sit back, have some lager and smile, wait for the result and laugh. I'm telling you, people who don't know, they will say, oh, Rushi Sunak, I bet you he's not going to win today or tomorrow. Among them,
Mr. Yosin, let me come in here for a minute. Is it because you think, by and large, we're kind of caught up in the Westminster bubble? Everything we see is London. We don't see beyond London. And the fact that, what was the population of ethnic minorities? I think combined, I don't think we're even, more than 1% of the population. And as such, when it comes to actually reaching out to the wider communities across the country, this is where we lack?
I'll tell you what. If you're a Ghanaian, we've got an example even in Ghana. Even in Ghana, we've got an example there. The racism in Ghana itself, it's massive. We know it. We do know the racism in Ghana. The same thing is the racism in the United Kingdom. Our masters, our colonial masters. If you are not English, you must be joking. When we are talking of prime ministerial position, seriously, if you are not English, if you are not white English, forget about it. You may have a minister or a deputy prime minister, no problem. But the real prime minister, you check it out. It's not going to happen. Even Labour people will vote against you. The Conservatives will vote against you. They don't care whether their party is in power or not. They will prefer to lose than to vote in an ethnic minority to be their prime minister. It's not going to happen anytime soon.
Okay, Mr. Yosin, thank you very much for calling in. Always a pleasure to hear from you. You can also call in. The number is 0203-735-8820 or 0203-286-0185. Alternatively, you can call the mobile line on 077-8793-9958. The time now is 20 to 10. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our discussion.
Don't sleep, wake up.
Abinel Solicitors, your number one family-friendly law firm, has done it again. Hooray! On the 30th of July 2022, Abinel Solicitors invite you to the Community Day. Theme, bringing the law to your doorstep. This is a special initiative to give back to the community. So come join us for all your free legal solutions. There will be free legal advice, food and drinks. And we've put together a solid team of solicitors and accountants. So you also have free accounting and tax advice. Wow! Abinel Solicitors Community Day, 30th of July 2022. Entibra, Nebesia lawyer for any accountants ekokudam na fa wo how bia e fam rasem ho e free immigration ayen kratasem e fa adwuma family law ana pese okofo obi e free Ghana eba ni na fabra na e free service. Abinel Solicitors Community Day, venue 41 Copperfield Mews, London, N18 1PF, time 12 midday to 4 p.m. Coming by train, Angel Corner Silver Street Station, buses 34 102 149 144. For more information, please call 02037 593 309 or 07824 705 353. Abinel Solicitors Community Day, 30th of July 2022. A free service, so bring all your friends and family.
The world as we know it has changed, and so have the issues affecting our community.
COVID-19 and the geopolitical tensions have really made it abundantly clear that the African continent has to do more to be self-sufficient from an industrial capacity point of view.
Join me, Awuah, on GN Breakfast Show as we look at issues affecting us here in the UK, with a close eye on trending stories across the world.
When we invest from the UK into infrastructure in African countries, that it is absolutely transparent.
With a focus on Ghana's social and political issues.
I mean, it's not about you thinking about, your money, the Sikadiya Basa is not what our authorities should be thinking about, or officials, but rather they should think about the nation.
The Breakfast Show with Awuah.
Monday to Wednesday from 8 a.m. on GN Radio.
When you thought you'd seen it all, but no, this is the height of it. London, wake up as the maestro, Mr. Music Man, the legendary Kojo Entry with Ketche and the Davison Band, UK. Live concert in the UK. This is happening live on the 30th of July, 2022. Time, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. Hosted by The Force. DJ on deck, DJ TQ. Location, Gaumont Palace, Dominion Center, the Broadway High Road, Woodgreen. N226DS. Performing live, we'll be having a surprise guest. Anticipate. Come and witness history in the making. Tickets available online at www.kojoentry.eventbrite.co.uk. Remember, this is sponsored by Unity Link Money Transfer. Media partners. For more info, contact 077 288 76027 or 075 25 52 48 643. Kojo Entry with Keche and the Davison Band UK live in concert. UK is powered by Davison Band and Desire Enterprise UK. So my guy, you are fidei there, eh? It's a legendary thing, my lad, me tell ya. Yeah. It's the anthem.
Welcome back to the show. The time now, it's actually 15 minutes to 10 o'clock. It's 9:45. It is Monday, 25th July, 2022. And if you just joined us, in as much as we're bringing you some of the stories trending, we're also asking, especially, to do with our folks here, the fact that Rushi Sunak could potentially become the next prime minister. How significant is this for ethnic minorities is the question that we're asking. I've had Mr. Kitiosin come on. Mr. Kitiosin, with the tagline that those who do not learn will not know that it will never happen here in the UK. This is Mr. Kitiosin, giving some facts as Mr. Boateng, Paul Boateng, whom I've actually met. I met him a few years ago at the Ghana High Commission. Yeah, I met him. Right, so Mr. Yosin is saying that the fact that, as an ethnic minority, to become the prime minister of this country, it can never happen. Mr. Kofi Ali, good morning to you, Kofi. Kofi has texted in saying that those who do not learn. Did Barack Obama not win the first black man in the USA? Or he's saying, did Barack Obama not win as the first black man in the USA? Never say never in politics. Never say never in politics. So Mr. Yosin is saying, those who do not learn, it will never happen. We'll never get somebody from the ethnic minorities to become the prime minister of this country. However, Kofi Ali is also saying that never say never in politics. If Barack Obama was able to do it in the US, why not the UK? Let me hear your take on this as well. This is from Akusia. Akusia is saying that she simply doesn't like Rushi Sunak. That's it. I don't like this man. That's what Akusia is saying. I'll come back to your messages very, very soon, but there's another story that I think is very important that, we need to bring to your attention. So, with just a few hours before a referendum on a new constitution, hundreds of Tunisians were on the streets to demonstrate against the draft put forward by their leader. Now, officials of the Islamic-inspired Ennahda Party stood among protesters in Tunis on Saturday, accusing President Kais Saied of a power grab since last year. Now, the new constitution aims to give less power to parliament as allowed by the 2014 constitution, a decision considered a threat to democracy for many who praised the 2014 text inspired by the 2011 Arab Spring. The referendum on 25th July, which is taking place today, the referendum on July 25th is taking place a year to the day after Said sacked the government and suspended parliament in a decisive blow against the country's young democracy. The text will allow him to head the armed forces and appoint judges who would be banned from striking. Opponents have called for a boycott on Monday's referendum. So today's referendum, opposition are calling people to boycott the referendum. Now, we've seen what is happening here, okay? Now, as I did mention, the 2014 constitution, which was inspired by the 2011 Arab Spring, the current leader, okay, is looking more or less to rip that apart. And this is what we tend to get from these authoritarian figures, completely against democracy. Let's take a quick listen to this report, and we'll come back. We'll continue to bring you more news across the continent of Africa.
Just a few hours before a referendum on a new constitution, hundreds of Tunisians were still on the streets to demonstrate against the draft text put forward by their leader. Officials of the Islamic-inspired Ennahda party stood among protesters in Tunis, accusing President Kais Saied of power grabs since last year. The most important message we want to convey is that the pro-democracy demonstrators in Tunisia continue to fight against the coup, against all of those who want to roll back the revolution and democracy. We are demonstrating today 24 hours before the so-called referendum to express a position that we announced months ago. For us, this referendum is meant to give allegiance to a person named Kais Saied. The new constitution aims to give less power to the parliament as allowed by the 2014 constitution, a decision seen as a threat to democracy for many who praise the 2014 text inspired by the 2011 Arab Spring. I came to participate as a Tunisian woman to say that I endorse the 2014 constitution and that I say no to the referendum, no to the one-man constitution, no to the concentration of power in the hands of one person, no to the destruction of institutions in Tunisia. The referendum on Monday is taking place a year to the day after Kais Saied sacked the government and suspended parliament in a decisive blow against the country's young democracy.
And that was a report there done by the African News. So that is what's happening in Tunisia. We'll keep a close eye on that, and we'll bring you any development. All right. And I think it was the former president of Ghana that said democracy is not cheap. And this debate will still carry on, will be ongoing for, I don't know, who knows, till the Lord comes to the end of the world. The ones that are pro-democracy and the ones that are against democracy, these authoritarian figures just want to control every aspect of the country. Now, let's look at other stories as well. Mind you, you can call in, okay? You can call. I want to hear your take on this. I've seen a few text messages coming in. Right, you can call in. Rushi Sunak in position to become the Prime Minister. How significant is this for ethnic minorities? Would this impact ethnic minorities at all or not? Or you think he's not the right person to become the Prime Minister, as Abusho was saying? Or Mr. Kitiosin, who believes that this will never happen? Or Mr. Kofi Ali, who's saying that never say never in politics, meaning everything and anything is possible. This is politics. You can call in right now, 0203-735-8820 or 0203-286-0185. Alternatively, you can call the mobile line, 0778-793-9958. Let's hear you. Let's hear your take. All right. Now, news coming from Ghana. According to the graphic online, in Ghana, Greater Accra has more than 50% of monkeypox monkeypox cases. The total confirmed cases of the monkeypox outbreak in Ghana is now 34, with the cases recorded in 6 regions. More than 50% of cases are in Greater Accra region. The Ghana Health Service has said Greater Accra, Ashanti, Bono East, Eastern and Upper West are the regions where the cases have been identified. The monkeypox outbreak was on July 23rd, 2022, declared a global public health emergency of the international concern. Of course, this was done by the World Health Organization. The classification is the highest alert that the World Health Organization can issue and follow a worldwide upsurge in cases. So, we all need to, especially Ghanaians listening to this particular program, need to caution their family members in Ghana, the loved ones. And if you happen to be going to Ghana, make sure that you take all the necessary measures to make sure you're safe. All right. Now, still sticking with Ghana, last week we spoke about the Marburg disease, the virus. Again, this is Ghana. The Ghana Health Service, GHS, has said one close contact in the new Marburg virus disease cases in Ghana reported symptoms after the maximum incubation period. The person tested positive together with his close contact, yet to be corroborated by the IPD, but died on the 21st of July 2022. So only a few days ago, the person died. Currently, 40 additional contacts have been identified in Savannah region and are being followed up. 11 of the 40 contacts are healthcare workers, and that's daily monitoring of the temperature and general health and well-being being undertaken by healthcare staff in the affected district. The Director General of the GHS, Dr. Patrick Kuma Abuaje, made this known at a press briefing in Accra. Okay. So it has been reported that one person who came in close contact with somebody who contracted the virus has also passed away. And one more story to do with Ghana. A 50-year-old pastor of the 12 Apostle Church accused of defiling a 4-year-old girl at Awuah in the eastern region, which later led to her death, was intoxicated. So the case is this pastor lured the girl, the 4-year-old girl, and he raped her, and as a result of that, the girl ended up dying. Now his lawyer is pleading for manslaughter, arguing that the pastor was rather intoxicated and should not be charged with murder. To be honest with you, I hope he gets the full brunt of the law for such disgusting behavior. I hope the Lord does deal with him appropriately. Now, another story in Uganda, I should say. Wazi Visions conducts many eye test camps in hard to reach areas around Uganda. So basically, this particular story is in rural areas in Uganda. People with poor visions are unable to, get medical attention. And these Ugandans have been able to come up with a way in which they're able to design glasses for people like me. If you're watching on Facebook, you can tell that I wear glasses, all right, to help the community. And it's such a fantastic idea. And this is what we keep saying, right? That I think it was my friend Idris, also a journalist, that said this. If the level of corruption can be slashed at least by 50% and invested, in technology, in other areas of the economy, this will really help in the development of our nations, particularly across Africa. This will really, really help because this initiative is fantastic. It's unfortunate that we're not able to bring you the full story simply because we're really, really out of time. On Wednesday, hopefully we'll be able to get some political figures here to be able to talk about what's happening. I know that the midterm budget will be read in Ghana, I think probably today. So we'll see the key elements in that particular budget, and we'll talk about it. But most importantly, a few of the messages that have come in. Rishi Sunak becoming a prime minister would be significant for ethnic minorities because it will let the next generation know that no matter what the obstacles are, you will be able to achieve it. Okay, that's from Samantha. All right. Some may argue against that. Let's look at this from Alice. Alice is saying it will not make any difference. I don't think he's going to go all the way, like your previous caller said. This is Great Britain. We've lived here. I was born here. We've seen it happen. They only give us certain opportunities, but when it comes to the big crunch, they will always show their true colors. Okay, and I think this has been the main argument, within the ethnic minorities. When it comes to this type of discussions, we've only be allowed to go so far. When it comes to the crunch, they show their true colors. My name is Jones Awuah. Thank you very much for staying tuned. We'll do it the same time, same place tomorrow. Until then, look after yourself.